How's it going, everyone? Another month has come and gone in this crazy year. Let's talk about the movies that I watched for the first time in May. Lots of good ones, and only a couple that I thought were pretty bad or just not good at all. Not dog shit, but just skippable. Alright, just skip it. There's only, this is actually a pretty good list compared to some that I've had before. So, good month overall. Good month. Nothing too terrible. So number 24 is Ouija, because this movie is just way too generic and safe and paint by numbers. Everything you see it coming a mile away. Teenagers get a Ouija board, they start having paranormal things happen around them, and then a couple of them get picked off. It's PG-13 bullshit. It's nothing we haven't seen before. It's just so generic. Gained nothing from this experience. It has one of the most unrealistic reactions I've ever seen in film. I did not enjoy myself at all, so screw this movie. I did see Origin of Evil, and you will see that higher up. That one was directed by Mike Flanagan, and it is done way better. Next up, we got Grace. This is a movie produced by Adam Green, who wrote and directed all the Hatchet movies, and Victor Crowley and Frozen. I love that stuff. All kinds of blood and guts from Adam Green. He's a slasher fanatic, so I went into this like, all right, Adam Green is, that guy, and he's producing this. Let's see what this is all about. And it just did not work for me. This movie has so much potential, but that third act, it just goes nowhere. It just peters out very quick. It's like, where is this going? And it goes basically nowhere. And there's like no twist, but it feels like it's trying to have like a little twist. It's basically about a vampire baby, and it's cut and dry. There's no like reveal, and I was trying to think of maybe some kind of twist that the movie was going to have, but there's no twist. There's no explanation. There's nothing. It was just a very, very big letdown. So Grace is my number 23. I will never watch it again. There's no real tension in it. Nothing. Like, there's nothing that I gained from it. It has an interesting premise, so much potential, but for me, it just didn't work. And then we got number 22, which is The Hills Have Eyes, Part 2, the original, not the remake sequel, but the original by Wes Craven. This is one of the darkest movies I've ever seen. And I don't mean in tone, I mean on the screen, I can't see shit. I said in my review, this movie makes it makes prom night look like Midsommar. And there's a blind girl in the movie, so it was like they were trying to put you in her shoes. Like, let's make the audience see what it's like to be blind, like the main girl we're following, because you legit can't see anything. Next up is a movie that will either work for you, or it will be so bad that you're going to turn it off within like the first 10 minutes. And that's the Microwave Massacre. This movie is just hysterical. Like, so bad that it's kind of good territory. But I don't think I'll ever watch it again, because it is kind of painful in some spots because of how bad it gets. The acting, the reactions, the gore is not even good. It's so fake, the gore. I think this movie was filmed in 79, but it came out in like 83. And the guy who plays the main character in this movie is the guy who played Jack Frost in like the original 60s cartoon, like Frosty the Snowman. It was just interesting to find that out. There's gratuitous nudity in the movie. I like that. But it's just a cheesy as fuck movie. It is so corny. So if that's up your alley, check it out. I think it's on Amazon Prime. So if you're into so bad that it's kind of good movies, this will be that flick for you. But if you can't handle terrible acting, if that puts you off and you can't stand it, stay away from it. It will be terrible for you. Now, the next movie is Curtains. Now, this has potential to go up on a second viewing if I get a good copy. I watched the Amazon Prime version, which is like 360p, square in the middle of your TV bullshit with the boom mic people like in frame, like holding shit. It was terrible. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was laughing because it's just so horrid. The freaking boom mic work in this movie, I was just blown away. It made me think that it was supposed to be like that. Like, it was like a movie within a movie, and we were like purposely seeing like the people hold the mic. It was just awful. So I need to see a better transfer of this movie, but I like the premise. These girls, these wannabe actresses. They're trying to get their 15 minutes of fame. They all compete for this role in the movie. They have to go to the director's house in a cabin in the woods, far away, and there's a mass killer killing everybody one by one, and you don't know who it is. I like that the girl from Black Christmas is in here, and she was a funny character. She plays like the comedian. But yeah, the mask is okay, but the kills are lame, and the transfer was dog shit. So, number 20 is Curtains. Next up, once again, so bad that it's good, except the gore in this movie is beautiful. It's so over the top, it's so bloody, and that is 100 Tears. I've seen bits of this movie years ago on YouTube, just like a little clip of something, like a death scene or whatnot, like a death montage. Because back then I used to look up death montages. I'm weird. I was looking for the next bloody horror movie. Show me all kinds of deaths. And this was one of the movies that popped up. And I was like, what the hell is that? And finally, it was on Tubi, so I checked it out. And this movie looks like it was made for less than like $50,000. Probably less than $10,000. I would bet money on it. Maybe less than $10,000. I didn't look it up. But yeah, it's like a shitty like home video camera. It looks awful, but the kills, there's like 50 of them. This clown has a badass gigantic meat cleaver, and he's killing people in wheelchairs, pushing them downstairs, chopping people's head like one little slice at a time. It's gory as hell, and there's a over the top zany character in the movie who plays like the killer's daughter, and it's supposed to be like a twist, but you kind of see it coming. It's just a over the top bloody fun movie. If you can just get past the low budget look and quality to it and just enjoy the kills and enjoy the ride. And the main two characters are fun too. I thought the main guy with the girl, they're like journalists. I thought they had like fun chemistry together. And so moving on to my number, 18. This is going to be an Italian horror film, Opera. I was a little tired when I watched this. I would probably need to watch it again, but it just didn't grab my attention. I hate opera. There's tons of opera music within this film that drove me nuts. There's tons of close-up shots. I think that's like an Italian thing. There's always close-up shots of like eyeballs. I thought there was a funny scene in this movie with the crow. Apparently, no crow. I think it was a raven. Apparently, ravens are very vengeful. Like if you fuck with one of theirs, they're gonna hunt your ass down and kill you, which I thought was funny. Not sure if that's true. Seems kind of bullshit, but whatever. It's just I like the idea behind it. I like the way the killer, ties up his victims and puts like these nails under their eyes and like so that they can't blink. They have to like watch him kill someone else. If they blink, they're gonna like stab their eyes. Cool stuff. Interesting idea. But anyways, moving on to my number 17. This is a Netflix movie called In the Tall Grass. Very interesting concept. Teleporting, like powerful tall grass. So it's not a cornfield, but it's just like all this tall grass. When you go in, you can't get out no matter what. It just teleports you. It throws your voice so you can't even call for other people. Very scary premise, putting yourself in the shoes of these characters. But to me, the movie just, I felt like it overstayed its welcome. It lost my interest. It started to try to explain the power behind the tall grass, and it wasn't anything interesting or different. I was like, really? That's where we're going? I like Patrick Wilson in the movie. He does a good job playing kind of two different roles, really, in the movie. And so, yeah, that's about it. I mean, it just overstayed its welcome. I wish it would have just had a better third act, a better ending, and maybe just a shorter movie. I feel like this would have been a better short film than this long 90-plus minute film. Because, like I said, it started to lose me towards the end. I was just kind of waiting for it to end. Next up, we got Silent Rage. This is like a slasher action comedy at parts Chuck Norris movie. And the killer is like Michael Myers. He's unstoppable and he's silent. He becomes mute. He can't talk. And Chuck Norris gets his ass kicked a couple of times in this movie. And I thought he was so tough. What's up with all those Chuck Norris jokes about how tough he is? He's got a fist in this beard that will come out and punch you. According to Family Guy, he gets his ass kicked a couple of times in this movie. So I'm not buying how tough he is. But I'm sure there's other movies where he kicks ass. But this is like the only Chuck Norris film I've seen. I've never seen any Chuck Norris movie before, but I've heard how badass he is. This movie has a fun, likable character in Charlie, which is the deputy to Chuck Norris's character. He saved the movie for me. He just had a lot of funny one-liners, and he just had the best personality. He really was the best thing about the movie because the kills, there's nothing really on screen. There's hardly any blood, hardly any tension. It's just not that good of a movie, but I enjoyed Charlie's character and seeing Chuck Norris. Next up, we got number 15, The Omen 2, Damien. This one actually focuses a lot more on Damien, and the kills all are less creative than the first one to me, but there is one that took me by surprise because it was kind of like lame kill after lame kill, like heart attack, drowning, and then boom, the elevator kill dropped my jaw. It was awesome. Like that needs to be in my like horror Sunday opening with the death montage. I need to add that. That was an awesome kill. The elevator scene. Um, but yeah, it's basically the first movie all over again, kind of like beat for beat. It's got like the same ending. Characters trying to warn this person like you need to kill your son, and they don't believe them. But at some point towards the end, they believe them. Now they're gonna go try to kill the son, or in this movie's case, the or not. What's the relation? Nephew or something like that. And then they get killed before they can do it. It's the same movie, just different kills and more attention on Damien. He's 13, he's hitting puberty. You got Lance Henriksen in here. A decent watch overall. I didn't hate myself watching it, but just wasn't that crazy about it. So moving on to my number 14, Rawhead Rex. This movie has weird ass moments in it that put it so high up. The baptism scene, the trailer park massacre, the look of Rawhead Rex, how cheesy and 80s it looks. It's just fun. This movie's got some fun moments in it, but unfortunately the first half wasn't as crazy about it. The pacing, the acting, not that good. But the second half is where all the fun is, and that's why it is all the way up here at number 14. Check out this Clive Barker classic. 13 will go to Blade Trinity. This is the more comedic of the three. Ryan Reynolds, he's hilarious in this movie, and Jessica Biel, yeah, or Alba. Is it Alba? I always mix up Alba and Biel. I don't know why. But the one from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, stunning, very gorgeous. It's my least favorite of the three, but if you like 1 and 2, I think you'll enjoy this one. So, moving on to my number 12, Ouija, Origins of Evil. This is the Mike Flanagan prequel to the very generic, bland, blah Ouija. This one just has better scares, better tension. I like the family angle. We actually focus on family instead of the typical like high school teenagers and whatnot. I like this group of characters. You got the kid from E.T. and Psycho 4 and Thomas Elliott. Just a much better, scarier film. They got some CGI faces, but they actually look kind of creepy. So I enjoyed this one a hell of a lot more than Ouija. I would recommend watching this one. And it actually does lead up perfectly to the first one to me. So it's actually a good prequel that explains some things. Next up, number 11, we'll go to House 3, aka The Horror Show. This has, once again, Lance Henriksen, and this is a sequel to House 1 and 2. You got Harry Manfredini doing the score, you got Sean S. Cunningham production, so the same people behind the first two, but this one just has nothing at all to do with those other two movies, or even that house, which I found odd. The killer's laugh in this movie is over the top and kind of annoying, but I just enjoyed the movie. It was very fun, very well paced. I liked some of the kills in the movie, just some of the dream sequences within it. It's almost like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. The killer is very supernatural. He's like manipulating the TV commercials. He just starts shooting his television in front of the family. They're like, what the fuck? Because they don't see what he sees. It's just got very funny moments in it. So I recommend checking out House 3. It's not as good as the first one, but I enjoyed it. Number 10 will go to the Netflix movie called Headcount. In this movie, you literally have to head count because there's a creature in it called the History, and it basically makes a doppelganger. It kind of like the Thing. It copies you, and there'll be like two of you at once, and you don't even know it. It's just fun. I like how different this movie is. It's making its own creature, its own lore, and the scene towards the end, I won't spoil it, that third act, it was just fun. I really enjoyed it. I really like the fact that this is different. It's unique. So that's why it's so high up. Number 9, we'll go to Girlhouse. This is about a slasher. It's a guy who was picked on as a kid. And he grows up to be like a computer guy, electrician or whatever, and he likes to go on this website, this porn site called Girlhouse, where you get to see women get naked on camera and whatnot. I don't do that. I didn't know it was a real thing until this movie. Shit. And so, but they piss him off. He finds out where they are and he goes to kill them. So you got all kinds of naked ladies in this movie, gratuitous nudity, surprisingly none from the main girl in this movie. Odd. But yeah, the boobs, the beautiful ladies, the brutal killer, the mask that he wears is very eerie and creepy. It looks almost, not quite, but almost like Leatherface in The Next Generation. It's just got that weird look to it, and the black hair, and just the way he runs. Like, this is a killer that runs very fast towards his victims and kicks their ass. So, good kills, not too gory, but there's some gore. Gratuitous nudity. It's a slasher, and it actually kind of builds up the villain too. It's focusing on him in the beginning, which I liked. You don't get that too much. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Number 8, we'll go to No One Lives. And no one lives in this movie. You got Luke Evans, and he's the main guy in this movie. And I like the twists and turns in this film. If you go into it blind, so I won't spoil too much here, just go into it blind. There's just this interesting setup, and then there's like a reveal or two, and you're like, oh wow, I didn't expect that direction. It's a very fun, gory movie. You got the guy from The Collection, and you got a wrestler in this movie called Tyrus. He's a big, meaty guy. Tons of gore in this movie, and yeah, I don't want to spoil too much. So let's just move on. I think it's on Tubi. You can watch it for free, and it might even be on Prime. So, number 7, we'll go to Bloody Birthday. This is a killer kid movie, and that's not a spoiler because that's the first scene in the movie. We open up with these two people in a graveyard and making love, and then they get killed by kids. And these kids are killing people like left and right. The kills just kept coming. It's not really gory or anything, but I was just surprised at how quick people were getting dispatched left and right. They're killing their own parents. These are some evil, sadistic little bastards, and you want them to die. I won't spoil who lives or dies at the end, or if they all die, or if they all make it and evil lives on, or anything like that, but it had me enjoying myself from beginning to end, just because it's a little different. We got 3 kids that are evil, and we get like a little explanation about because they were born during like a solar eclipse. Astrology is the reason behind this. There's a lot of talk about astrology and what's your sign. And I guess that determines if you're crazy or not. What's your sign? Are you a Leo? Are you a Scorpio? Virgo? But if you're born on a solar eclipse, it just makes you a psychopath like these kids. And they are just fucking brutal. They're mean. They're cocky. And you just want to reach through the screen. Like, it makes you hate those characters so bad. Number 6, we'll go to a found footage movie. And this one is a very good one. I'm not too into found footage, but this one was very entertaining, and that is Grave Encounters. I really like the premise behind it. You got this Ghostbusters show. They're fake. They always pay people to say shit, and then they go to a old abandoned insane asylum, and shit actually gets real. Might not be that original of a premise, but I enjoyed it. I really like these characters, and just the reaction to things. It was realistic, and I really like the fact that it gets really supernatural. Like, it's supernatural that there's ghosts there, but then it gets even further supernatural, and it does some things that start to like raise questions, and then you start to have like theories about what's really going on. But for the most part, I think it's cut and dry. But you can make theories about what's going on, and just the characters in the movie were fun. They're great. Good acting, good tension. They actually show you some ghosts. There's some CGI here and there that wasn't that good, but I really dug the hell out of this movie. So I would definitely recommend checking out Grave Encounters. If you like found footage films, can't go wrong here. It's on Amazon Prime. Check it out. Number 5, top 5, we'll go to Blood Rage. Now, this has quite a few titles. Like slasher, it says so right in the movie. It says slasher. Another working title was like Twins or Evil Twins. This has all kinds of names. Killer at Shadow Woods Apartments or something like that. But this is a typical slasher, but you got twins. The one twin kills somebody and frames the other twin, and then years later, that twin escapes, and therefore, this twin is like killing again to frame that twin again. It's just a very cheesy, fun 80s slasher with on screen kills, gore, lots of nudity. Everything that you would want in a slasher is in here. The acting is bad and over the top, and the killer is just fun. He has an iconic line in the movie that he says like 5, 6 times. Like, that's not cranberry sauce. That is not cranberry sauce. So it's just a very fun movie. It's a Thanksgiving slasher. The actual, we don't get any slashers, especially slashers, that are on Thanksgiving. We always get the other holidays, but never on Thanksgiving. You got Thanksgiving with the killer turkey, but that one's just a little too over the top bad for me to even enjoy it. It's just too bad. I don't know why. It just doesn't work for me. Thanksgiving doesn't work for me, but Blood Rage does. So check it out. I highly recommend it. Number 4, we'll go to Blade 2. This is the sequel by Guillermo del Toro. I have a hard time saying that guy's name, but this one, it ups the action. It's shot better. It looks better. The whole movie was just a blast from beginning to end. Starts with a bang, ends with a bang. It's my favorite of the trilogy. So Blade 2 is my number 4. Number 3 will go to Return of the Living Dead 3. I haven't seen 2 yet, but I actually just bought 2, 5, 4, 4 and 5. I think there's 5. So I bought all of them now on DVD and watched this one on Amazon Prime. I think it was Prime. It could have been Tubi. But this one's by Brian Yuzna, who did Beyond Reanimator, or no, Bride. It was Bride Reanimator, The Dentist 2, Society. This guy does all kinds of slashers and horror movies with all kinds of wonderful special effects, and you got great special effects in this movie. If you want to see some neat creature designs like zombies and brains and heads just getting eaten, torn open, this is the movie to watch. It's got a beautiful lady in it, the main girl on the poster, and I love that design. She's basically like a Cenobite towards the end. The way she's like hurting herself, she's got like nails in her everywhere. Brutal, awesome, creative look, and just a fun, silly movie overall. Number 2, we'll go to another Netflix movie called The Perfection. This is very recent. This is like 2 years ago, I want to say, in 2018. I finally checked it out. I heard all kinds of hype about it back in the day, but I didn't check it out. I didn't want the hype to ruin it. I let it just settle. And then finally I saw Netflix. I'm like, oh yeah, there's that movie everybody talked about back then. And boy, do I get why they did. This movie is so twisty and turny. It's a great movie to go into blind, not knowing shit. Do not watch any trailer for it. Don't even watch that stupid clip that they play. I hate Netflix now because when you like hover over something, they automatically play like a trailer in a clip, and it's so annoying. Quit. All right? Is there any way to turn that shit off? Don't watch anything on this movie. Just go into it blind. It has a couple of twists and turns. Like, is it going down this path? Is it within our universe? Is it going to be like supernatural? Is it not? It just goes into these weird places, and by the end, I just had a smile on my face. I'm like, that was different. That took me by surprise. I loved it. So I don't want to spoil too much. Great performances. Number 1 goes to Starry Eyes. This is by the guys who made the Pet Sematary remake, which I was not a fan of at all. Now, this movie is about a starving artist, a starving actor. She wants to be famous. So she goes to this audition, doesn't go that well, and then has a little meltdown. But then the people who are auditioning people, they see her meltdown and they ask her back, and then things get crazy from there. And there's some, other shit going on. I don't want to spoil too much. This is another fun movie to go into blind, not knowing too much. It's very metaphorical. There's, messages within the movie that you kind of have to look for. Some of them are obvious and upfront, but there's some things underneath the surface in this movie. brutal kills towards the end. It has a nice crescendo towards the end where people are getting killed left and right. It gets vicious. It gets bloody. And the acting from the biggest positive is this main girl's performance. She nails it. She is just perfect for this role. And she really just sells it. Great story, great character, great acting, and some vicious, brutal kills towards the end for the gore hounds out there. So if you haven't seen Starry Eyes, I highly recommend it. It is definitely purchase worthy and the best movie that I saw in May. That's my ranking. What is your favorite movie that you saw in May or from this list? What's your favorite in my list? What's your least favorite? Let me know. And thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button, share it with all your friends, and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, Auf Wiedersehen.